Hey guys, thank you for joining me for another online yoga class. Today is another restorative chill out class designed for you if you've had a busy summer, jam-packed full of activities and entertainment, and you wanted to take just a little bit of time for yourself to unwind and relax. I recommend you bring any props with you that you may want for your practice. So I'm going to be using a couple of blocks, a couple of cushions. I'm going to be using a rolled up blanket in lieu of a bolster, and I've also got an eye mask and a blanket for my Shavasana at the end. I really hope you enjoy the class and I hope you feel relaxed and chilled out. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste. So we're just going to start in a comfortable seated position. You can sit cross legs or extend your legs out in front. Sit on a cushion if that feels more comfortable. Any position where you feel nice and tall through the spine, the shoulders can draw down and away from the ears and you can lift up through the crown of the head. You can rest with your palms on your knees, palms face up, or you can take Gyan Mudra, connecting the index finger and the thumb with the remaining 3 fingers stretched out in front, palms face up. Connecting to your breath, breathing deep into the nose. Watching the journey of the breath travel through to the back of the throat, lifting the chest, lifting the ribs, and expanding all the way down into the belly. Creating a small restriction to the back of the throat as you exhale, making the breath audible. And I recommend here, in any or all of the postures where you feel comfortable and stable, that you softly close your eyes, allowing your awareness to draw inwards, tuning into the more subtle sensations you're feeling within your body. Taking one more deep breath in through the nose, hold it at the top, and exhale, let it go through the mouth. Bring the palms together at the heart center, softly blinking the eyes open. Namaste. So we're going to start in a child's pose. You can bring your knees wide to mat distance apart, or you can bring your knees together depending on how you're feeling in your hips. You can use a cushion or a block for support for your forehead as you rest it down towards the mat. Arms can stay extended out in front with the palms down, or you can release your arms alongside the body with the palms facing up. If there's strain in the backs of the hips as you try to draw your sit bones towards the heels, place a block or a cushion or a rolled up blanket between the hips, between the heels, and allow yourself to rest here. Softly working your way towards releasing the forehead or the chin towards the floor, opening up through the shoulders and the chest. Taking one more deep, expansive breath in. Exhale, let it go. Look forward slightly. Bring the hands over towards the right, stretching through the left side of the body. Again, releasing the forehead down towards the floor or the block. Focus on grounding down through that left hip joint and the left sit bone in towards the heel or the cushion. Opening up through the hips, the shoulders, and the side body, expanding through the ribs as you breathe deeply. Taking one last deep breath on this side. Exhale, let it go. Looking forward, bring the hands over towards the left hand side, grounding down through your right sit bone, allowing that right shoulder to draw down and away from the ear as we expand through the right side body, breathing deep into the right side of the ribs, staying nice and long through the spine, drawing the crown of the head away from the tailbone. Taking just one more breath here. Exhaling fully. And then as we inhale, we bring our hands back towards the center line, pressing back into our child's pose one more time. And then from here, we're going to move into Anahatasana, heart melting pose. So softly walking your hands back up, remove the cushion or the blanket from beneath your sit bones if you had it. Grab a block to support your forehead. So we're going to come onto our knees. This time our hips are going to stay stacked over the hips are going to stay stacked over the knees, sorry. Arms extend out in front and towards the front corners of the mat. Release the forehead down to the block on any setting. Or maybe you don't need the block and you can just release your forehead down towards the floor, working with lowering the chest towards the floor. Try to keep those hips stacked over the knees. Feet flat out behind you as you open up through the shoulders, the chest, those pectoral muscles getting a good stretch. If you can here, draw the low belly in to help support the lower back and avoid overarching through the lower spine. Focus on bringing the stretch into the upper body, the backs of the arms. Maintain your deep breath practice, breathing deep into the ribs. Allowing the heart to melt down towards the earth. And then as slowly as you need to, begin to walk your hands back up. Remove the block from under your forehead if you had it. We're going to come into Ekapada, Rajakapudasana, one leg king pigeon. So step your right foot forward between the hands, opening up through the hips here, tuning into how you're feeling within the hip flexors. And then heel toe your right foot over towards the left wrist. Place a block or a cushion underneath your right sit bone as you release that right hip towards the floor. Trying to keep the hips squared as possible as you lift your chest, look forward and stay nice and tall through the spine. Left leg presses back behind you. As you exhale, you release down either onto the forearms or release your forehead down to the earth. Please check the screen for the modification, coming into a reclined pigeon pose by drawing the knees in towards the chest, opening up through the right hip slowly. Make sure you feel no pain in the knee, no pain in the ankle. You should be feeling a deep stretch in that right glute as we stretch into this deep external rotation of the hip joint. Taking just a couple more deep breaths here, releasing through the left hip flexors and opening up through the right hip joint. Truly surrendering to the posture. And then as you inhale, look up, look forward. Slowly as you can, walk the hands back up to center. We're going to take a deeper hip flexor stretch here, so you can stay where you are or begin to reach the left hand for the inside of the left foot. Taking whichever bind around the foot feels deepest in the front of that left leg, maybe beginning to rotate the arm to get a stretch in towards the top of the left leg. You can focus on drawing the heel in towards the glute, or maybe begin to bind, reaching it around, toes reaching towards the armpit. Take one more deep breath and exhale to softly release that leg. Coming back to a tabletop position, extending that right leg out behind you, taking any movement that feels good in that hip joint. Maybe some hip circles or extending the leg out to the side, just to release any tension we may be holding. And then when you're ready, we'll come into it on the other side. So bring the left foot forward between the hands, stay nice and tall through the spine as we work with finding mobility in the hip joint. And then when you're ready, heel toe your left foot over towards your right wrist, lowering the left knee towards the floor, placing a block underneath the left sit bone and extending your right leg behind you. Again, modify as needed by coming into the reclined version. And you can bring your left foot more towards the right hip, if that feels more comfortable on the knee. Recline forward if it feels nice, either releasing to the forearms or releasing the forehead down towards the earth. Either way, you should be feeling a stretch in the left hip and hopefully in the front of the right leg as well, as we open up through those hip flexor muscles. Taking just one more deep breath here, in through the nose. Exhale fully. And then as we inhale, look forward. Gently as you'd like, walk the hands back up to center, taking the quadricep stretch by bending the right knee. Take a hold of the right foot with the right hand from the inside, drawing the heel in towards the sit bone. If you wanted to take a deeper stretch, begin to take the fingertips to face the same direction as the toe, the elbows draw back behind you. You can look back or look forward. This is an intense stretch, so make sure you modify as appropriate, or you can just stay in your pigeon variation. Exhale, we softly release that right foot, release the block from underneath the left sit bone, stepping back to a tabletop, and take any stretches that feel nice in that left hip. Hip circles or extension. And then when you're ready, we'll release back into our tabletop position. From here, we're going to move into Baddha Kanasana, bound angle pose. So we're just going to come to sit back on our heels, bring our hips over to one side as we bring our knees in towards our chest. Bring the soles of the feet together as the knees draw open to the sides. Placing blocks underneath the knees for support if you feel like you would like the little bit of support here. You can also sit up on a cushion if you're struggling to keep the length in the spine. Making sure that you're nice and tall, the shoulders should be able to draw away from the ears, placing the palms behind the hips as we lift and lengthen. If you don't need the blocks, you can release them from underneath the knees and let gravity work with opening the hips. If you wanted to move into a forward fold, as we exhale, we hinge forward from the hips, reaching the crown of the head forwards. If you'd like a little bit of support underneath the head, you can place a block in front of the feet and softly release the forehead down towards the block. Maintaining a steady breath here, you should be feeling a stretch in the inner thighs, maybe a stretch in the glutes as well, as we move the legs into an external rotation, opening from the hip joints. Maybe as you get more comfortable in this posture, you could adjust the block, releasing onto a lower setting. Finding a stretch that is deep and powerful, but making sure you can still maintain a steady breath practice wherever you are, releasing tension in the forehead, releasing tension in the jaw. Taking just one more deep breath in through the nose. Exhale fully. And as we inhale, we come all the way back up to center. Bring the palms to the outsides of the hips, give a little lift, lifting the chest, looking up slightly to release. Remove the block if you had it. Now we're going to come into Ubevista Kanasana, bringing the legs wide. So comfortably wide to a point where you feel a stretch in your inner thighs, maybe in the hips again. Knees face upwards and toes face upwards. Again, you can work with just lengthening the spine, lifting here if this feels like enough of a stretch. Or if you wanted to take it further, you can bring a block towards the floor in front of you and release the forearms down towards the block. Staying nice and tall, shoulders away from the ears. As you begin to feel more comfortable, maybe begin to create more of a support system as you relax down. Releasing a hold of the shoulders, releasing any strain in the jaw and the throat, releasing the forehead. As you move into a place where you feel comfortable and relaxed, but hopefully at the same time feeling a nice deep stretch in those inner thighs as we stretch, maybe working towards the backs of the legs. Ensuring here that the knees and the toes continue to face up towards the ceiling. Taking one more deep breath in through the nose. Exhale to let it go fully. And then inhale, walk the hands back up, coming back up to a seat, lift the chest, lift the gaze. And exhale to release any blocks, any cushions that you may have had. We're now going to come into a Supta, Ekapada, Rajakapudasana, reclined one-leg king pigeon pose. So this is the same as the modification we did for the pigeon pose laying down earlier. So we're going to come to lay down on our backs. I recommend, if it feels nice, have a cushion underneath the head for support. And then we're going to draw our right knee in towards our chest. Place the right ankle on top of the left bent thigh, making sure the knee faces out to the side and the toes are flexed back towards you on both feet. From here you can draw the thigh in towards the chest, maybe taking hold of the back of the thigh, or interlace the fingers around the shins. Move to a point where you feel a stretch in that right hip, but no pain in the knee or the ankle. Your shoulders should be able to maintain their connection to the earth, and you should feel soft in your chest, feel soft in the jaw and the throat. Try to avoid lifting the tailbone too high, and try to keep grounded through the pelvis, working with slowly opening through the hip. One more big breath in. And then as we exhale, we release the foot, allow the left foot to come towards the floor, draw the right knee in towards the chest, and then release the right foot down. Drawing the left knee in, and then externally rotating at the hip joint, drawing the left ankle towards the top of the right thigh. Left foot stays nice and flexed as we work with opening the hip joint. You can stay here or begin to interlace the fingers around the back of the thigh, keeping both toes flexed. Or maybe working with interlacing the fingers around the shin, trying to ground down through the hips, staying nice and level through the shoulders and the pelvis and long through the spine as we isolate the stretch towards the hip joint. Taking one last deep breath in. Exhale fully. And then releasing a hold of the right leg. Let the right foot step down towards the earth. Draw the left knee in towards the chest. And then exhale, release the left foot down. From here, we're going to move into Seitu Bandasana, supported bridge position. So I recommend here that you either have the head flat towards the floor or only a very, very small cushion. Avoid using blocks underneath your head as you don't want your neck to be in an extreme range of flexion. So make sure you're nice and long through the throat. Draw the heels in towards the sit bones. Make sure the knees are hips distance apart and the ankles are hips distance apart. Slowly lift up the hips and place the block underneath the sacrum, which is the flat part of the spine just above the bottom. Try to avoid placing it on your lower back. The block can be on any setting that feels good to you. You can release your arms alongside the body with the palms face up, or for a more grounded sensation, you can release with the palms facing down. Try to draw the chest towards the chin, but keep the chin away from the chest, staying nice and long through the throat. One more deep breath into the chest, expanding the rib cage and the collarbone. Exhale fully. As we inhale, lift the hips ever so slightly, just enough to release the block, and then very slowly lower those hips back down towards the earth. We're going to move into a Supta Kanasana now, a reclined bound angle pose with props if you have it. If you don't have it, you can just lay straight down on your back. Otherwise, I recommend you use your bolster or your rolled up blanket with a stack of pillows to help support you. You want to make sure your neck is nice and supported here and your head can rest fully on your props. So you want to bring your sacrum up towards the back of the props as you lay down the entire length of the spine onto your mountain of props behind you. Bringing the soles of the feet together, allow the knees to draw open to the side, either to be supported by blocks or just letting gravity work with opening them towards the floor. You can rest your left hand on your heart and your right hand on your belly, or you can release your arms alongside the body with the palms facing up. Hopefully beginning to feel a stretch in those inner thighs. Opening up through the chest and the shoulders, feeling nice and long through the belly. Creating space along the throat. Releasing any tension you may be feeling in your jaw, your forehead, around the eyes. I recommend here, if you wanted to set yourself an intention for today, this is a wonderful opportunity to do that. It can be a simple word, a mantra, a phrase, anything you'd like to take with you for the rest of your day. With each breath in, draw in your intention fully. And with each exhale, you let go of anything that no longer serves you. Emotionally, physically, or spiritually, you let go. Now you're welcome to stay here if this is really comfortable for your final resting, your Shavasana. If you wanted to take it into a more traditional Shavasana with the benefit of using props to get super comfortable, just prop up onto your elbows and then from there press into your hands to lift yourself up. Extend your legs out long, bringing your feet out to the front corners of the mat, and I recommend you use blocks here underneath your knees or pillows to support underneath the backs of the legs. If you have a blanket, even better, now is the opportunity to use that, helping to keep the heat within the body. And if you have cushions, I recommend that you place them underneath the head, allowing the shoulders to rest down towards the earth. And if you have an eye mask or an eye pillow, you can use that now. Release your arms alongside the body with the palms facing up. Allow the shoulders to draw down and away from the ears. Allow the mind to clear of any thoughts. Chitta vritti, the mind chatter of everyday life. Allow your breath to steady. Don't try to force your breath to go any particular way, but just allow the natural rhythms to return. Allow your body to feel heavy and supported by the earth beneath you, as if you were a pebble resting on soft sand or soil. Slowly sinking into the earth and being held and cradled by the earth beneath you. Allow yourself to truly let go and be still in body, breath and mind as you rest here in your Shavasana. Slowly begin to bring the mind back. Begin to deepen the breath once more, watching your inhales and exhales journeying in through the nose, through to the throat, the chest, the ribs and the belly. Begin to bring some small movements back into the body, starting in the tips of the fingers and the toes, Working your way through to your wrists, your ankles, your shoulders, your hips. Take any stretch that feels good to you. And then when you're ready, softly rolling over to your right hand side, removing any eye pillows or eye masks you may have. Giving gratitude to yourself for showing up for your practice, softly blinking the eyes open. And then using your left hand as a support, gently prop yourself back to a seat, bringing the palms together at the heart center. Today, as you go forward, I wish you peace in your thoughts, peace in your words, peace in your heart. Namaste.